Alrighty, guys, what is going on? My name is Tubby Emu. The Raw Money in the Bank, SmackDown Money in the Bank contestants have been made official. If you don't want to know the spoilers for Friday Night SmackDown for who made it in the Money in the Bank, just click off the video and come back Friday after SmackDown. Here we go. Raw was announced. The competitors that will compete: CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, Sheamus, Christian, Kane, and Rob Van Dam. I just got done watching WrestleMania 20. Rob Van Dam and Booker T retained the tag team titles. Now, here's an interesting thing with Rob Van Dam. I've always been a Rob Van Dam fan. I liked him. I used to do the one of a kind all the time. I used to frog splash pillows. Big fan of him. I really am. I think a lot of people that don't realize or like, oh my God, RVD's coming back, really haven't watched him in TNA, because in TNA he was a lot slower. He had a horrible reputation of not wanting to put over a young talent. You know, he didn't lose very much at, if at all. And he clearly stated that he wasn't in WWE because, he didn't want to do that full-time schedule anymore. He had an interview with Ardo Cal, and he said, I was looking for that part-time schedule. I even asked WWE last minute. TNA took it, so I went there. And he's been, saying ever since for the last couple of years, like, people ask him, are you still a wrestler? Like, yeah, I'm kind of like a brand ambassador for TNA, telling people I'm over there. Now, either way, it's cool to see Rob Van Dam back in the WWE. I was a huge fan of him growing up. Like I said, I loved him. I did the Frog Splash. The fact that he's coming back in the actual Money in the Bank, it makes sense. Hopefully, and Tony Pizza Guy will know what I'm talking about here, him and Smalls were at the TNA Sacrifice 2012 pay-per-view when Rob Van Dam botched the ladder spot with Bobby Roode. Hopefully something like that doesn't happen here in the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. But either way, it's still pretty awesome to finally get him back in, in a ladder match nonetheless. So, as far as the contestants go, now, a lot of people are going to complain, saying you got, guys that could get a championship opportunity at any time. It's kind of a waste of a briefcase. And some of these guys, I would agree. Guys like Kane, guys like CM Punk, Sheamus doesn't ever need a briefcase to win. People that it could help, obviously Rob Van Dam coming back out of nowhere. Daniel Bryan could be an option. Christian, maybe one more run, potentially for a title opportunity. Some people are really upset, but that's when they announced the SmackDown Money in the Bank contestants. And this is where it gets very interesting, because the last 2 years, they've gone in the route of, future superstars on SmackDown, maybe even 3. And the SmackDown contestants are Fandango, Wade Barrett, Dean Ambrose, Jack Swagger, Damian Sandow, Cody Rhodes, and Antonio Cesaro. So you have 2 tag teams in here, essentially, stables, if you want to call them that. Jack Swagger and Antonio Cesaro. Damian Sandow and Cody Rhodes, Rhodes Scholars. Seems like we've had some tension between Cody and Damian, because, Cody's been getting pinned. Damian gets the upper hand. Who knows, maybe that'll come back to play in it. But I think the most interesting ladder match will be the SmackDown or the World Heavyweight title ladder match. In my honest opinion, I think that's where we're headed, is that match will obviously provide more excitement. If you remember when Daniel Bryan won that Money in the Bank briefcase, oh, what a magical time it was 2 years ago. What a magical, magical time when Daniel Bryan won that match. He was my dark horse. I remember that's when we did videos. We'd be like, dark horse, who's your dark horse to get it? And Daniel Bryan was mine. He goes out there and he wins it. So a lot of people are speculating on who they want to win. A lot of people are saying, Antonio Cesaro, Wade Barrett's dropping the title to go on to win with Dean Ambrose in. I think Dean Ambrose in a ladder match, I've been waiting for this. They kind of had that TLC match, but I think Dean's going to go out there and put on one hell of a show. Either way, both ladder matches seem pretty interesting. I could go without, don't forget Randy Orton, by the way, sorry. I could go without seeing Kane in the ladder match. Now, I know he did win the SmackDown Money in the Bank ladder match a couple of years ago and cashed it in. I don't necessarily want to see Kane in the ladder match, but it is what it is, and I think there will be, some sort of tension between Daniel Bryan and Kane that could potentially cost him the opportunity to win. And I don't want to speculate right now who I necessarily think is going to win. I think I'm going to leave that up to the predictions once we get closer to the pay-per-view. But the question is, guys, what do you think of the Money in the Bank ladder match contestants? What do you think? You got 2 Money in the Bank contests now. Each one of them coming in. You know, they got, actually, does that mean there's only 7? Right now, there's only 7 guys announced currently, according to WrestlingInc.com, announced for SmackDown. Will they add in an 8th guy? They may or may not do it. I'm looking at the numbers right now, and it's 7 and 7. Normally, they've been doing 8, so if they do add somebody, who would it be? But what do you think of the overall 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches? Do you guys like the contestants? Do you think they should have been switched up more? Let me know in the comment section below. I want to get your feedback. Make sure to follow me on Facebook and Twitter for updates about the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Rob Van Dam's on the ground, beating a Paul Heyman guy. CM Punk win the briefcase. Will it happen at the pay-per-view? Let me know.